Good morning and welcome to Extra Shot. I am Carlos Diaz along with Julia Moffitt, Julia Brooks, and Chuck Lofton. And we have a lot to get to this morning.
Yeah.
Even though we're not talking about a hurricane anymore, we're still talking about Tropical Storm Ian and the effects that basically just... one of the things that you and I watched every minute of the coverage that we could yesterday. One of the things that I found interesting was it's like a huge tornado that just kind of goes across, with stronger winds. Imagine the strongest tornado possible that just is gigantic, that just goes straight across the state. And that's what happened, kind of a thing with water.
Not only that, but these things also spawn tornadoes.
Right.
And we haven't heard a lot about that. We do believe that there were 2 or 3 yesterday near Fort Myers. But when it's this wide and this big of a swath, and it still is, by the way, tropical storm still on land currently. This is a live look at Orlando. Now, this thing passed south of Orlando a ways ago, and it is still raining there right now. And I wanted to show you the radar. So here's Orlando, here's Daytona Beach. That's where the heaviest rain, pardon me, is occurring right now. And the latest coordinates on this storm, 65 miles per hour, moving to the northeast at 8. Palm Bay is right down here. It's about, if you drive there from, let's say, Orlando, it's about an hour and 15-minute drive. That's where this is centered, but this is moving out into the open water, but it's still spitting all of this rain from basically Jacksonville towards Savannah, Georgia. Now, here's what we think will happen today. By 2 p.m., this will be near the Space Coast, but off the water, still spreading a lot of rain as a tropical storm. And look at this. This will move into Charleston, South Carolina, still is a tropical storm, 2 p.m. Friday, and Saturday morning near Charlotte, North Carolina, still is a tropical storm. This is a very strong storm. Now, here in Indy, we'll have none of that. We've got a beautiful day. It's crisp and clear out there, 44 degrees right now, 45 in Greenwood, 67 later today. And I think really, folks, we've got a really nice weekend ahead. I think you all would agree, right? 72 Saturday for the Colts game. Sunshine. I predict they will open the roof and the window, 72 against the Evil Titans. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 70 through 72. Oh, by the way, I got an email from a former writer for one of our publications in town. Great guy, wonderful person. Said, quit saying evil. Quit calling it evil. That bothers me, and I don't like it. So I can't call other teams evil anymore. I've decided I'm going to take that advice. So now they're diabolical.
I was going to say, what you got? Let's see if you're saying
And
diabolical.
that always made me laugh so hard. Okay.
Yeah, some
so
people don't laugh so easy. Yeah, so I'm going to call them diabolical. The diabolical Titans.
Okay, we'll do that.
I mean, it's just sports. Come on. But on a serious note, just real quick with Ian.
Yeah.
We were talking about Sanibel Island, and you were talking about that picture that you saw.
Yeah, so I guess, and I've been there one time, and it was years and years and years ago. But if you're a lot of Hoosiers I know go there, and there's a bridge to get into Sanibel, and then to Captiva, and kind of along. So the things that we've seen online this morning shows that Sanibel Causeway, which I believe is the only way onto those islands, has collapsed. So
yeah, they've had a crumbling at one end of it. So when something like that happens, the integrity of the bridge obviously is in question. So it's going to take a while, I'm sure, and then just the damage there.
And also the Sky Bridge from Tampa, in Tampa, I guess. So they had to close that down once it hits like 45 miles per hour. They have to shut it down. But before they can reopen it, they have to check the integrity of it. So that'll still be an issue, even though Tampa was pretty spared considering what they should have hit. Another reports online. The Sarasota airport received some damage. I think there have been reports of a lot of damage. This damage I've seen is not too significant. Sarasota and Bradenton, the sheriff's department there say they got up early. They've been answering 500 plus calls of people that need some kind of assistance.
So now they're only taking like the most dire calls right now because there's so many people that are calling. We have a couple people that are up with us this morning on Facebook. So good morning to you, Norm, Don, Brian, Regina. I apologize if I'm not saying your name correctly. I believe that's pronounced Regina. And a couple people are saying good morning and praying for Florida this morning. So obviously top of mind for everybody.
Well, the other thing that we talked about this morning, and I find, I don't know that you think about it a lot, is that the governor was reminding people in Florida that more people are injured after these storms than during. I think Charlie was a case given when Charlie hit Florida. 6 people died because of the storm itself, and then after the storms went through, the number was over 70 that were killed from whether it was down power lines or unsafe structures, you know, just getting out. And I think that's so important to remind people
there is no question that we have not seen the last of this by any stretch. We're talking not days or weeks, but months in that area, Fort Myers over to Santa Barbara.
Not in the millions, but the billions of dollars in damages.
Right, absolutely.
I mean, All right, so NBC right now is down there for the Today Show. You can tune into NBC and watch that. Let's talk about a few other things very quickly before we get you out of here on Extra Shot. Apparently the group behind the Grammy Awards is looking to add a new music genre to its category list. The CEO of the Recording Academy says it's considering Afrobeats as an award category. Afrobeats is described as pop music coming out of West Africa. Members of the Recording Academy have to first accept any proposals for new categories before they are reviewed by a committee, then voted on by the Recording Academy Board of Trustees.
I could totally see that being a thing. I think in the last, I would say 3-4 years, I think we've seen not the popularity of Afrobeats explode, but Afrobeats in the U.S., I think. And I think, what was the most recent award ceremony that we had? Would it have been
the Emmys?
The Emmys. I think that was one of, I cannot remember the name of the performer, but she was the first performer. I believe that she's from Colombia, and I might be ruining that completely, but she won an award. But she was, and it's crazy sometimes when you think of some of the firsts that we're still having, and it's like, oh, you don't think about that just on the international music scene, that she was like one of the first from that country to win an Emmy in that category that she's in. And so I do think we're going to start seeing a lot more like subcategories of things that we don't think about. It's like, oh, I've heard this song, but then you think about the influence that it in other countries, and you're like, wow, we have to, I don't know, change the way that we think of categories. So I'm actually, after I heard that, I was like, wait, that's not a category already. I think it's just grouped in other categories. Like we hear like some of the popular songs and music that comes from that, but giving it a subcategory of its own. I think that's like, we'll see that with a lot of different international music.
I always tell people, if you have Sirius satellite radio, don't just have your presets. Really turn that dial and try to look at stations you normally might not listen to and hear music that you might not have heard. I know for a fact there are 4 awesome Spanish stations that play great Spanish music as far as merengue and all these different things, and so you can kind of try new things and new beats and things like that.
Look
you just kind of turn the dial.
I hope that they show, I hope they show the winner, because they usually don't. You have, like on the Grammy Awards, you have 5 or 6 categories where they show the winners, but you have many more where they attend a ceremony and shake their hand. For instance, Sir George Solti of the Chicago Symphony Orchestra, I believe he's won more Grammys than any other human being. And you never would see it.
They want the pop stuff on there, Okay.
Well, we will continue to keep you posted on the very latest, of course, on now Tropical Storm Ian. Now that it's becoming light, we'll probably start to see, unfortunately, more of the damage that's been done. So stay tuned here to NBC. And thanks so much for being with us. We'll see you back here tomorrow.